welcome back to my channel. My name is Ness. I like to talk about books. Today I'm talking about 12 Sapphic novels that are coming out in 2022 that I have my eye on. I can't believe it's been a year since I'd done my 2021 Sapphic novels I've got my eye on series. I didn't even realise how late in the year it actually was until I sat down and thought, it's 5 weeks till Christmas? It's what? And then it got me thinking about all the amazing books that are going to be coming out next year, and I had to take a look at some of the Saphics that were coming. I say Sapphic novels because sometimes it's not clear where the Sapphic element is, whether it's going to be a character that's a lesbian or bisexual, whether it's going to be the main character or the side characters. Sometimes it's not very clear from the description. But anyway, we've got a mix of genres here, so hopefully that you will find something that you are excited about and something to add to your wish list, because I am an enabler apparently, and you can't have too many books. So the first book that I have my eye on is the Final Strife, which is a debut novel. Quite a few of these are actually debut novels, which makes me very excited because I love finding new authors. This is going to be the first book in an adult fantasy series, which describes itself as being African and Arabian inspired. In this book, 3 women band together against an empire that divides people by blood. Red is the blood of the elites, of magic, of control. Blue is the blood of the poor, of workers, of the resistance. Clear is the blood of the slaves, of the crushed, of the invisible. I'm a sucker for a book about a resistance against an empire, if I'm honest. In the author's own words, the Final Strife is a manifestation of my desire to prove that all cultures are magical in their own way. And this is listed as a female enemies to lovers that's expected to come at some point in 2022. It doesn't actually have like a date and a month on the Goodreads page for when this is going to be coming out, so I'm not sure when to expect this. But you know, when I do know when it's coming out, I will have a pre-order in. This second novel is a young adult contemporary, and that is I Kissed Shara Wheeler by the same author of Red, White and Royal Blue and One Last Stop. And this one is going to be coming out on May the 3rd, and honestly, what a beautiful cover. This is a young adult romantic comedy about chasing down what you want only to find what you need. The main character is called Chloe Green, and she is kissed by her rival, prom queen Shara Wheeler. But the plot really starts when Shara Wheeler goes missing. She's left behind cryptic clues, and Chloe bands up with 2 boys that Shara has also kissed recently, and the 3 of them start looking for her. Sounds like a perfect read for the summer. The third book is Dauntless, and this is also a debut novel. This is a young adult fantasy novel that is coming out on the 19th of July. Again, beautiful cover. The premise of this book sounds so great as well. A teen girl must bring together 2 broken worlds in order to save her nation in this lush, Filipino-inspired young adult fantasy novel. This is going to be a standalone, and in this book the main character lives on the edge of the known world in a settlement that has threats. The book has a complex element about the way that beasts work and the way that they interact with their world. The main character is an assistant to a commander who fends off their settlement against the beasts. However, what the main character knows about her world is thrown into question when she meets a girl from the unknown world who seemingly can talk to beasts. Our creators have loved this book, so I'm very excited for this one. Next we have From Dust of Flame. This is tagged on Goodreads as young adult, but I've had no confirmation that this is actually a young adult novel, and this is due out on the 8th of February. This book is a Jewish contemporary fantasy. Hannah's life is seemingly normal, apart from the fact that her mother always makes them go on the move, so they don't have a permanent home base. On her 17th birthday, Hannah starts undergoing a magical transformation, and she starts believing that she is cursed. Her mother sets out trying to break this curse, but never comes back, so the main character starts trying to find out how to break the curse herself, and in doing so uncovers a tragic family history and is thrown into the realms of Jewish mysticism and legend. Mysticism, I don't know. Next is Wild and Wicked Things. This comes out on March the 29th and is inspired by The Great Gatsby. I think there's another book on this list also inspired by The Great Gatsby. This one is a fantasy novel set in the aftermath of World War I. A woman gets swept into the glittering world filled with illicit magic, blood, death and murder in this lush and decadent debut novel by Francesca May. It's gothic, has dark magic, blood curses. Sounds pretty good. I remember The Great Gatsby retelling being very popular on last year's Sapphic novels of 2021 series. The Saphics love The Great Gatsby. Next is The Ones We Burn, that we know is coming out in October 2022. This is another debut novel by Rebecca Mix, and I saw the picture of this author and I was like, I've seen this author around on Twitter a lot. There's no cover and little information, so I was actually going to pass on this one until I read the short synopsis and was like, you have my attention. A young blood witch's mission to assassinate her betrothed, a gentle human prince, gets complicated when they uncover a witch-killing plague, and in their race to stop it, she falls for the prince's sister. Yeah, that's why I included it on this list. Next we have Sofi and the Bone Song. This comes out on the 19th of April, and that is the same author of Sweet and Bitter Magic, which was on last year's list. This is a standalone fantasy in which a young musician sets out to expose her rival for illegal use of magic, only to discover the deception goes deeper than she could have ever imagined. In the author's words, this is also inclusive of An Endless Winter, a sapphic romance, some of the best lyrics I've ever written, an exploration and dismantling of the idea that people should suffer for their art. I think that sounds amazing. I love a music book crossover. Next we have Trippin' Arcadia, which is another debut novel, and this is coming on February the 22nd. This one is another Great Gatsby-esque type novel, but I was very drawn in by the cover of this one, I'm not gonna lie. A propulsive and atmospheric modern gothic with all the splendour of the Great Gatsby and all the secrets, lies and the darkness that opulence can hide. This contemporary gothic follows a young woman as she recounts her role in the death of her billionaire employer through a series of poisons at a Gatsby-esque party in 21st century Boston, while uncovering the mystery of his drunken poetic heir's illness and battling growing feelings for his disgraced daughter. Again, I can't confirm whether this one is an adult or a young adult because I couldn't actually find that out, but to me that seems a little bit more adult. I don't know. To me that kind of seems like it would be good for fans of House of Hollow, which I read recently and loved. Next is What We Do in the Dark. This is coming out on May the 3rd. I can't confirm whether this is an adult or a young adult, but to me this definitely reads as adult contemporary. This is a novel about a woman's life-altering affair with a much older married woman. The novel is set in two parts, and the first part is her as a freshman in college where she actually has the affair, and then looks at her as an adult and the effects that it's had on her in her life. I don't usually read contemporaries, which is why there's not a lot of them on this list, but this one is definitely up there as one I'm looking forward to coming out in May. Next is Spear, and this comes out on the 19th of April. There is so many 5-star reviews of this on Goodreads, which makes me very excited. It's a queer retelling of Arthurian legend and myth. And it's also an adult fantasy, which I was not expecting. The main character is a girl who grows up in the wild and she lives in a cave with her mother, but visions of a faraway lake come to her on a spring breeze, and when she hears a traveller speaking of Arthos, king of Caerleon, she knows that her future lies at his court. Don't think I've yet read a retelling of Arthurian myth and legend, but I know that there is another one. Oh my god, what's it called? Once and Future. I think that's another sapphic of that sort of style, but my interest is piqued. Next is the Helheim Princess. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I've probably butchered it. And this one comes just after New Year. This is the 4th of January. This is a young adult fantasy which is Norse inspired. It's listed as an own voices LGBT fantasy that builds on Norse mythology in a beautiful story all of its own. It includes Valkyries, animal companions, and I don't know about anyone else, but animal companions is something that I definitely dig in books. So the main character of this one has always wanted to be a Valkyrie, but the animal that she bonds with is just a normal horse. But there is war on the horizon, so I'm assuming things start to change for her. It says thrilling, intricate and romantic, which is not what I expected this book to be described as, but it is. And last but certainly not least is another one coming out on February the 22nd. February seems like a good month for the Saphics, guys, I'm not gonna lie, and this is Extasia from the author of Furyborn and Soulkill Girls. This is classed as a young adult horror novel about a girl who joins a coven to root out a vicious evil that's stalking her village. ARC readers have been very mixed on this one. The reviews are either 1-star or 5-star, and I think that depends on the way that you deal with some of the elements of this book, because a lot of it is religious trauma. Personally, I think this sounds straight up my street. It's about witches, cults, hopefully in a love it or hate it situation. I find that I love it. The plot seems very complex, and a lot of people in the reviews are saying, you know, I didn't actually have a clue what was going on in this book until the main character discovered herself what was going on, and then I was able to understand what this book was about. But I am intrigued. The cover does interest me a lot. I'm not sure how the Sapphic element fits into this, but we will see. So that's it from me today. I hope you found some books that you are interested in. I think over time there probably will be a part 2 of this coming, because last year I was just so overwhelmed. I ended up talking about 50 books or something. But I love it, I really do, because I didn't have this much availability when I was a teenager. So that's why I love to make these videos, to raise awareness of what is out there for Sapphic readers. If you haven't yet subscribed to me, please consider doing so if you like this video to watch more of my content, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys!